Here with Thunder head coach Rich Kromm ahead of this weekend's matchup. Coach, a new destination for the Thunder this time around, heading to Utah for the first games against the Grizzlies on the road. It's a team that you've beaten 3 times this season here on home ice. What do you think of the matchup ahead with this Mountain Division opponent?
Well, this original series against them was early in the year, so we haven't seen them in quite a while. I'm sure they've had some changes, so it's pretty tough to really determine how their team looks right now. But try to watch them play. I think they play tonight and tomorrow, so get an idea of what they have coming into the weekend.
And it's a team that last time we saw them relied heavily on a forward named David Valerani to take care of some of their offensive game plan. They have lost some of the guys that you saw last time. Defenseman Tyler Hines no longer there. Forward Berkeley Scott has made his way over to San Francisco. So it is sort of a new look unit. But do you think that still, even when the players change, if you see what a coach's philosophy is, you can expect maybe the same style of play, even if the names are different?
Yeah, most teams play very similar systems with their forechecks and breakouts, and so there's not going to be a lot that's going to be very unique. It's going to be minor adjustments probably to the way they specifically play. Valerani obviously is a very dangerous player all the time, so we have to make sure we keep an eye on him all the time when he's on the ice. He's talented, he's fast, he's very creative with the puck, and a key part of their offense.
Now going back to last week and really the last couple of weeks for the Thunder, this is going to be the first time you guys are seeing a team not in the Pacific Division in quite a while. A 3-3 several weeks ago against the Ontario Reign. Then 5 straight meetings with the San Francisco Bulls. You managed to win 3 out of those contests. So take me back through that series overall. Some hard-fought games. Do you think you'd call it overall a success for your guys?
Well, we won the series. We got 3 out of the 5, but obviously I think that we could have had a better result in a couple of those games. I thought the one game at home here where they were given the 5-on-3s near the end, I think that basically determined the outcome of a game where I thought we were playing a pretty good hockey game, and certainly I felt we deserved better in that night. But overall, I guess you got to be happy with getting the win in that series. It's not easy to play one team 5 straight games. I mean, it becomes the game within the game becomes pretty interesting all the time, and I thought that our guys handled it well.
And you talk about some of that series mentality, sort of the being in the playoff mode, and we saw some of that that feistiness between the teams. You had sort of the storylines as well. A guy like Ryan Constant, who picked up a 2-game suspension, he sort of fills back in, and even with a lot of injuries to the lineup, you were still able to change the lines around and be able to figure out ways to get the job done.
Well, we have enough depth up front that we can juggle guys around, and there's an overabundance of players initially this season that could play center. It's becoming a little bit thinner now with the situation with Rosie being hurt here going into this weekend. But I thought our adjustments were good. I think the guys competed hard. They knew the importance of the series. Whenever you play a divisional rival that many times in a row, those points are very, very important to make sure you do whatever you can to get as many points as you can. And I think we did a pretty good job against them. It was heated early. I think it settled down into a pretty the games where I think were interesting and exciting for fans. The last game maybe not as much because we got the lead and kind of hang on to it for most of that game. But it was an interesting series. I don't prefer to play a team that many times in a row, but it is what it is. The schedule maker put that on our plate, and we have to deal with it.
Now, you mentioned Ben Rosen, who suffered a bit of an injury in that last game. Now, one other thing, you guys will be missing goaltender Parker Milner, getting called back up to the AHL. He picked up his first pro shutout of his career in the last meeting against the Bulls, shutting them out 5-0. Talk about his development a little bit, a guy who, especially his last 2 outings, was pretty phenomenal for you.
Yeah, pretty solid. I think that even what I liked about the last game is he did whatever he needed to do to preserve the shutout, and certainly was good when he had to be. He didn't have a ton of work, but had to be good at a couple opportune moments in the game, and he was good, equal to the task, and I think it's a good time for him to get called up on a real high note.
And you talk about some of the guys who have been called up here. You've had Milner going back up, and obviously the 2 of your top players in Corey Trevino and Andrew Clark still in the AHL with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers and Portland Pirates, respectively. You've been able to get a couple guys to fill in. One that I know my broadcast partner Brandon Kisker loves to talk about is Joey Martin, a guy who is really putting up points in bunches for you. He's had 15 over the last 11 games and has only gone 2 games without putting a point on the score sheet.
Yeah, Joey's had a tough challenge all year long because he's been given a lot of different wingers throughout the season, but he's always responded. He competes hard all the time. He's good offensively. He's good defensively. He's good on faceoffs. He understands the game really well, and he competes hard. And I think he's really clicked with Miller and Brewston as a line. So we'll keep those guys together going into the weekend.
All right, and last thing for you, Coach, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the very special game we had here against the Bulls, the Painted Classic, the Thunder's We Paint the Ice event, a very unique experience for all involved, and I think the fans had a lot of fun. What's your final takeaway, from that game playing on fan-decorated ice?
Just an unbelievably terrible experience. We just couldn't see the puck. Guys had trouble all night. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was great. Guys had fun with it. I think everybody enjoyed it. It was an interesting new development in our league. I don't think anybody's ever done it before, so it's certainly set a bit of a trend. I think there may be some teams that follow in our footsteps for sure.
All right, thank you very much, Head Coach Rich Kromm. The Thunder on the road taking on the Utah Grizzlies this weekend, not back here at Stockton Arena until January 18th for Teddy Bear Toss event. I'm Caleb Lamb for ThunderVision.